All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order on May 12th, 2025 at 2 p.m. A roll call, ma'am.
Susie Quills. Here. David Lexi.
Here.
John Ditmars.
Here.
Kevin Walls.
Present.
Brian Baird.
Here.
Ron West.
Present.
And Mark Myers. Sir, we have a quorum.
All right, thank you. First item on the agenda would be approval of the March 10th minutes, 2025.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. Anybody got any discussion? Good. No, we're moving forward.
Do we have a whistle?
Thank you.
A train whistle going on anywhere?
It's gonna move today. Yeah.
Jessie should be.
Okay, well,
She-
she can get on if she is.
Yeah. She, and just for other board members who may not know, she's with her father who's having heart surgery.
Oh,
So, it was not what she wanted to do, but, frankly, I told her it's where she needed to be.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
So,
Thanks. Okay. I didn't know if I was gonna tell everybody that, but I guess you did, so
I
it's
did.
legally okay.
I did because she was, she really did want to be here.
Did you see how she just kind of pulled the air horn on that and slowed this train down a little bit? Okay, we have a motion and a
Jake, right.
second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Okay. Treasurer's report.
Well, I don't want to slow you down, so.
You're better looking than Pat, by
Well,
far.
thanks. I'll let him know you said that.
Please do.
Looking for approval for the check register dated March 11th, 2025 through May 9th of 2025. It's a total of $1,176,663.96. The bond amount is $1,132,014.92. And customary ordinary checks were $44,649.04.
I got any questions?
The Sun Life Insurance, is that for life insurance or what kind of insurance is that? Life insurance for who?
Staff. And it's also the workers' comp.
Is this new? I don't remember this from,
We haven't changed any
We
benefits.
changed companies.
huh?
We changed companies a few months ago.
We didn't change any benefits that I'm aware of.
No benefits.
It's just a new company?
Jessie should be able, she should be.
I don't remember seeing that. And
Can
what
you hear me?
policy-
Can you hear me?
What kind of policy
Can
is,
you hear me, Commissioner?
Yes, we can hear you, Jesse.
Okay, thank you. Yes, it is a change to our life and our long-term disability. It came in much less expensive than our prior policies. So we changed about 2 months ago. We worked with John on that.
Did we change companies, Jesse, or did we change? We did not change benefits that were previously approved. Is that correct?
Correct. It was just a change in the company because they were much less expensive.
so,
Now that we have more than 2 full-time employees, it made a drastic change from the way we used to have to get insurance to what we can get now.
so my question is, what kind of life insurance is it? Is it whole life, term life? What exactly is it?
No, it's the same we've always had, term life, the same thing the county has.
Term life.
Yeah,
Term life?
Term life.
yes.
Well, maybe at budget time we'll bring this up again. I don't know the need for term life insurance on employees. That's kind of unheard of, I think. But anyway, we'll bring it up at budget time. Because you got health insurance, you got,
We do not have health insurance.
well, you got health and medical.
We have a stipend, but we don't have insurance. But we have always had term life insurance in the 30 years that we have operated as an organization.
I have trouble understanding her. I can't.
I think I can help, and I don't have specific knowledge, Commissioner West, but I think I can help. There was a conversation years ago about trying to get these employees on the county's health insurance plan, if you'll recall, for those of you who were here, that was not possible. Your health insurance would not allow them to do it because they were not technically county employees.
Right.
So as a result, you guys give them a stipend for the health insurance. It's not actual health insurance. They get a stipend to go out and get their own.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know about the life insurance. I don't know, do the county have life insurance? Because does
We
John?
have a life insurance policy that's mandatory. We have to do it
Yeah.
with our benefit package.
And I think they mirrored that.
I've been trying to get away from it for years because we pay 6 times the premiums what we ever would have to pay out in benefits if we didn't have it.
Yeah, but I believe that, to my knowledge, do you guys use John as well?
What?
Do you guys use John Ald as well?
No.
Okay, to my knowledge, the benefits that the solid waste folks get mirror what the county gets, but they switched companies because it was cheaper.
Well, maybe Carla can email me the particulars on that life insurance, okay?
I'll get with
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions on the financials?
Move approval.
Okay, we got a motion to approve from
I'll
Mr.
second.
Dittmers. Got a second from Susie Qualls. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same.
Thank you.
There you go.
I was going to ask you, Graham's Wrecker Service, was that to move equipment?
That was the cost to move the tox box itself that houses the chemicals.
Yeah,
From the highway department to the new facility on the concrete pad there.
yeah, I kind of thought that's what it was, but I
Yes, sir.
thought I'd ask anyway. Thanks, Carla.
You're welcome.
Okay, Treasurer's Report, CAC, meeting for budget overview to be determined. The CAC committee,
Jesse?
Jesse, you still on here?
Oh, I am. I just was only going to answer if it was something important, and I'm sorry, I'm just hearing CAC. There's no good signal through here, but they will be meeting in June to go over the budget like they always do before we present.
Okay. We'll go right over that then. Director's report. Do you want to give the report, Jesse, or you want Carla to, or?
Carla can certainly go over that. If you have any specific questions, then I will be happy to answer them. We've just been working diligently on trying to make sure that everybody is going to training. We've been cleaning at the facility, and I've been meeting with Wes a lot, which I'm sure he'll report on.
Yeah, Wes will have the floor in a minute. So,
All right. In April, we had a shredding, and we had our tox box day on a Saturday, and we had tons of people come out. We had a huge volume with our paper. We had 4 tons of paper, which is a really big amount of paper for us. And we saw over at the tox box, we had Tom and a couple of our CAC members were there, and they were pretty busy all day too.
okay. I got any questions about those 2 items? All right, we're going to, looks like you're in stage 1 and moving.
As Jesse just said, we've been busy cleaning up the new facility. We've been busy doing training. Of course, I'm still doing the banking and the prep for the board meetings. And Jesse, like she said, she's busy meeting with Wes quite a bit.
Okay. Are you got any questions about that? Okay. We don't need to take action on that, do we?
No, sir, not unless you have any questions or
Well,
directions.
we're gonna go to a real nice legal report from Ms. Lynn Gray to update on a compactor contract. I think everybody's been waiting diligently, patiently, waiting for this.
You,
but-
sir, have a wicked sense of humor, don't you? Thank you. If you recall, at the end of the last meeting, we had compactor quotes before you, and you approved a compactor quote with Republic, subject to legal review. And there were also several stated concerns or experiences that some of you had had in your either personal or professional dealings with other entities. I listened to those and felt that subject to legal review, I should keep those in mind when I was discussing the contracts. As you also know, when you get these quotes from vendors, it is not unusual for the quote to say exactly what you would expect them to say, but there's always that caveat, subject to the terms and conditions listed on our website, which when you print out, if you can get them under 5 or 6 pages, they are very, very fine print that no one under the age of 25 could read, and once you do read them, they're pretty onerous. And in particular, on the Republic's website, there were several that I felt contradicted what was in the quote, and frankly, based upon what your concerns were. I wrote back to Republic, and I won't bore you with the red line, but suffice it to say that I struck about 7 or 8 of their basic provisions that were in there that included, and this one was a particular concern, that they could increase the charges upon notice to us, and I recalled our chairman indicating that he had signed one that had that similar provision, so that was stricken. I also changed late fees, things of that nature. Not that there wouldn't be a late fee, but giving us at least 40 days advance notice of it to give us time for our meetings, we pay our bills. I changed that there was a requirement that if we had any disputes, it would go to arbitration. My experience with these types of contracts that are adhesion contracts, arbitration is slanted heavily in favor of the contractor and not the consumer, which we are in this particular case. I also struck the provision that if the contract was terminated by us, that we would have to pay their attorney's fees. I struck the provision that said there could be, customer shall not be responsible for any or pay any taxes, which we did agree to, fees, surcharges, or fuel recovery fee, recycling processing charge, environmental fee, administrative fee, or other sums other than as specifically agreed in the signed proposal. I'm sorry, I didn't strike. I asked for that to be inserted, and they did not. And I also asked that the terms and agreement include a provision that said, except as specifically modified in this amendment and the signed proposal. These would be the terms, and they would not add that. What I did get was a second amendment to the first contract, which we hadn't signed the first contract, so I'm not sure why we'd have a second amendment. That was drafted and basically said a lot of the same things that were in the other one. And that this was how their legal team had decided to go. And my response was, well, our legal team has decided not to. And I will be meeting with the board in response to that. And I had very clear what I thought, and thank you for your confidence, direction as to what concerns that you would have. I think I basically said there's no way my folks, you are all my folks, I guess, would ever agree to anything this onerous. So we didn't sign the contract. But that does leave us with a bit of a dilemma as a district that needs to have a compactor as to how you wish us to go. Jessie has indicated, and I think she's worked with Wes and worked with some other, to maybe a temporary fix to get us up and going, but it's not a long-term fix. And I thought that, A, we could either acquiesce to the terms that Republic has, which is not my recommendation, or B, you could go to the backup proposal, which was from your compactor quotes, which was Caldwell's. They're not the big $1 million gorilla that I feel like Republic is, that has to send it off somewhere to have it reviewed. But there were, in their proposals, and that's why I asked Carla to put it in front of you again, there were some different fees that they could have some monthly increases, a 3% increase each year. It was a 5-year agreement as opposed to 3. And Jesse's estimates that it would change the totals to about $16.21 versus $14.40 a month. But I don't feel they will have a contract that is nearly as onerous as this. But this is not something that I felt that either I nor Jesse or anybody else on staff should be making these decisions without your decision as to which direction you wished us to go. So,
Does the GFL not have a compactor?
GFL.
Green for Life? They're
They used to be
big now.
Strauss
We're doing,
dumpsters, they bought Strauss.
GFL does not handle recycling. They only handle trash
Thank you.
in our community.
oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
thank you for doing all the research on this, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Does Caldwell's, do they do plastic recycling? Because that was a question that we had last time, was the 1 through 7 plastic and.
Jesse, were you able to hear that?
Yeah, I spoke to Caldwell's, and after Lynn and I had met, knowing what seemed to be happening with this contract, and they stated that they would be willing to use either Waste Management or Republic for the processing of our materials. And so they could still use Republic for the processing of our materials.
But we pay them and then they have to work out a deal with Republic. Is that correct, Jesse?
Yes, that's the 120 ton. That is the per ton of recycling. That is the processing of the materials that they do not handle. Basically, they just handle the compactor and the transportation.
Jesse, what line item is this expense under on your budget?
It should be under, is it under recycling center, Carla? I
Yeah,
mean,
recycling center supplies for $10,000.
no, it would be under,
Find it under SW disposal.
80,000?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, those are all our contracts, because again, we still pay for Edinburgh's recycling center. That's the increase of waste, and that would be any increase we saw with the possibility of composting and this recycling compactor.
He had to leave.
I was doing head count, make sure we're okay on.
We're okay.
We're okay. And unfortunately, I would say that we got quotes from the 4 that really do it. When you have a recycling center, you have to recycle. So,
So did they say what their charge was going to be? I'm assuming they're going to pass that along to us, the fee for recycling the plastic? Is that?
That's all in that quote of the,
Put it in the quote?
the 1621,
Okay.
yes.
yeah, the only part that we'll never be 100% certain of would be the percentage that they charge for the environmental.
And then we are locked into a 5-year deal with them, correct?
Correct.
With a 3% increase each year.
Each year. That's correct.
And they're dealing with Republic, we're not.
Pardon me?
They would be dealing with Republic and we wouldn't.
That is correct.
So you try to beat the gorilla and the gorilla's already got you beat.
Yeah.
Well said.
I just really felt strongly, quite frankly, after your 2 comments last, that we just couldn't agree to the adhesion terms of the contract. It's exactly what I think you guys have had some
And they will hold
Bad
you to it,
experience.
and they will stick it.
experiences with.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, anybody got any recommendations, or Ron's over there punching on a calculator, it looks like.
Yeah, but I don't have any answers.
I didn't figure you did, you didn't come up with.
Lynn, have you read the terms and conditions of Caldwell's? Have you read their terms and conditions?
We have not, because we didn't want to reach out to them and get a contract.
I got you, okay.
I asked Jessie if she would talk with them, and they're local and have more flexibility of things, hence the plastic recycling. They had more flexibility. I felt truly that we had more ability to negotiate with them than we did with Republic.
Back in a hard spot.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like we have much choice.
I was gonna say.
Fortunately, this is one of those good days to be president, because I would look to the board for a recommendation. One of the few days.
This is one where I was very happy that you gave me discretion without authority.
I propose we move forward with Caldwell, subject to legal review of their contract.
We have a motion.
I'll second that. I'm concerned about 5-year though. Of course, you can negotiate.
Do you want me to go
that.
back and ask for 3?
I think so.
It cuts both ways though, doesn't it? I mean,
It does.
We lock in at 5 years. We might be wishing we had kept it 3 years from now.
Yeah, that's just that 3% increase each year is
So I do wonder, given the fact that Caldwell's is obviously a smaller scale than Republic, and these are machines that have to be built, I feel that that might be one of the reasons why there's a 5-year contract versus a 3.
A good point, Jesse. I'm sorry I neglected to tell them that, because they would be building what we need from the ground up.
who, Republic?
No, Caldwell,
Caldwell.
because they are local. They don't have them sitting like Republic does.
Well, no, Republic would be building as well, which is why we're so far out now, but they obviously just have more financial means.
And more resources available to them.
Yes.
I'll second the motion.
All right. So we understand this correctly. We're gonna
If we didn't already get that.
write the contract with Caldwell's. Are we leaving it at a 5-year?
Yeah, I think so.
I think we should.
Okay, it's left at a 5-year deal,
Correct?
and we'll just ask for you to review the contract.
Most certainly
And
will.
hopefully you don't find as much fine print as it as you do, but I assume you probably will, because they'll cover their CYA.
Yeah, maybe you can negotiate with them better.
Given your direction that I have the leverage to be able to say this board has turned down the other one that was cheaper,
Yeah,
I think that gives me some credibility to say exactly as you directed.
all right, we have a motion to go with Caldwell's on a 5-year deal, and Ms. Gray can negotiate this out for us.
Thank
So, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, same. Motion carries. Go with Caldwell's and see how that goes.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
And ma'am?
Mr., you got anything else, Lynn?
I do not,
Okay.
subject to what Wes is talking about.
Subject to what Wes is
Correct.
talking about. So we'll hear from Mr. Wes Harrison on the building update.
Thank you. Good afternoon. The building is doing quite well. The building itself is pretty much complete. We have our punch list tomorrow with the architects and engineers, followed by the city inspection tomorrow afternoon. And then we've got, then they'll be able to put ceiling grids, or the ceiling tiles in, and pretty much sweep the floor and push the dirt out the floor, and we're on our way. So, which reminds me, one thing I believe we were going to talk about today was the epoxy floor. Does that need to be voted on, or is that, okay?
Yeah, if you've got any of that information,
Yeah, do you have that, Carla, the epoxy floor quote? Okay, I can pull it up. So,
he can give you an overview on this, and I really, he asked me, and I said I'd rather bring it in front of the board to
Yeah.
get final clarification on this, so.
in the bay areas where the drive-throughs are, it's just sealed concrete. In the office areas, in the office portion of the building, it's carpet. And then in the more utilitarian areas like the restrooms and the corridor and break room, it's just sealed concrete, and it doesn't look good. It doesn't look like a finished building. We did that originally to save cost, and now that we've pretty much seen where we are cost-wise, and we're still working with a little bit of contingency money that we've got left over, Jesse asked me to get a cost for putting epoxy floor down. And I believe the bid or the quote was $7,900 to do everything that's part of the office portion of the building that's not carpeted. So
Nope. Wes, it was 60, hold on, I'm pulling it up. It was actually 6,700, I believe.
okay, even better. So
Is that gonna be slip resistant?
it will not be slip. It will be slip resistant, and it will have a little bit of a
We've
color
run into that.
flat to it. Yes, yes. And
I've already asked that question.
yes. So we would ask the board's approval for that expenditure, if that's okay. And
And we do have it in the contingency.
yes.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, we got a first from Commissioner Baird, second from Councilwoman Walls.
She beat you to the punch. She
So, but
beat
the
you
building
to
itself
punch.
looks very good. We've got exterior signage to be done, some finished grading on the outside, and then the asphalt, which is our biggest holdup right now, which is trying to get 2 or 3 good days in a row, which I was just sitting there looking at my weather forecast, and it looks like the rest of the week they're calling for spotty showers after this afternoon. So they're scheduled to do it later this week, so hopefully by
There
this
he goes.
later this week, we have asphalt down. And then we can start operating out of the building, because the city has given us acceptance of temporary certificate of occupancy once we get the asphalt down, and we can move forward with operating out of the building. Now, shortly after we get the base coat down, then they'll come back and do the finish coat, but at least allows the staff to work out of the building in the meantime. So I don't know that Jesse has a firm grand opening date, but I'm really anxious for y'all to see the building, because it looks great, and it is a great amenity to Johnson County too. And the flow will be good, I think, as far as being a safe space for not only the people that are dropping off, but also the workers in the building. It'll be much better than what we had before. So you'll be impressed once you see it. So, yeah. Any questions?
When's the final date, did you say?
I'm hoping by the end of this week, we are done and we
Other
have our
than paving.
TCO. Now, that's contingent on the weather and a couple other people doing what they told us they're going to do. But, yeah, so I'm hoping by the end of this week.
If it could be done by like the 28th would be great, since I've got my dog going in there next door.
Obviously, I've been taking off a different hat and don't wear the hat for the city, but I would tell you that I have had feedback from the planning department that has indicated that because of the constant communication that Wes and everybody has done, things have not gone perfect, as Wes will probably tell you about the utility poles, but they appreciated that, and so they were more than willing to do a temporary occupancy permit until, because many of the things were just outside our contractor's control. So I'm confident they're going to do that as soon as the asphalt's down.
Yeah. So one thing that is interesting that Lynn's referring to is, I don't know if you guys have been down that road lately, but people drive like crazy down
Well,
there,
it's
speed-wise. Oh, it's
unbelievable.
nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with good foresight, the city asked us to put in a passing blister and a decel lane too, which we are, and it's in the bid and ready to do the work. And we had to have 2 poles relocated by Duke Energy, which they did, and they put them both in the wrong spot. So now we're held up from putting the passing blisters in until Duke relocates the poles again. But actually, what they're going to do is take everything underground this time, which will solve the problem. But Ms. Gray is anxious to work with Duke Energy on the cost of that. So, and there is pretty substantial cost to all this, so we need to work through that, but we're in the process. The building is energized from the overhead power, so it's not a problem for us, so we can operate out of it. And the city's very gracious to allow us to open up without the passing blisters, so everything is full speed ahead, so, yeah.
When the poles are in the right of way, we have different hat. When the poles are in the right of way, the municipality can request removal of the poles out of the right of way without cost to us. When they are then placed in a decel or A-cell lane, the city doesn't have that ability. However, they were placed in the A-cell, D-cell lane without knowing where they should have been placed because the A-cell, D-cell lanes were very clearly on the plans and very clearly by Crossroad marked as to where. So they moved them at their cost, but not where they should have moved. So we'll be doing a little battle there, would be my guess. And everybody's pointing the finger at each other. The contractor, the engineers, and Duke. And the only ones that I have indicated is I know who it was not the fault of. And that would be us. So somebody else is not to pay this.
So it will come before me, I'm sure, to sign, because Duke will want a change order for that. Your advice to me, sign that to proceed.
We have to get the thing
Okay.
done. We're
Just
just
so
not
you
gonna,
know.
we're just not gonna pay
Yep.
our contractor or anybody else until they point, like I said, all I know is who it isn't the fault of. And we shouldn't pay it.
But we'll have to move it forward. So
We've
just
gotta
letting
get
the board
the
know.
building.
Sounds good.
And I'm gonna circle back, because we never really voted on, the epoxy floor.
We did.
So I'm gonna circle back to that and just ask everybody in favor for an aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Okay, got caught up. Wes was getting in a hurry then.
As long as it's slipper sergeant.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions for Wes? Are you pretty well, does anybody have the opportunity to go out there and take a look at it?
Oh, no.
You need to go by there and take a look at it, just hopefully we can get the asphalt. It's very well done, and
I didn't go inside, but I was there when the doors were open. It's pretty impressive.
yep, it'll be good for the community. So it's a good deal.
Nice.
So,
I just know the dogs will be a lot happier when it's done. Because those dogs go nuts over there continually.
Because of the noise? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's, yeah. That's why I said I hope it's done before my dog goes in there.
all right. Any new business other than the next meeting? All right. Any other public comment from our captive audience we have here?
Motion to adjourn.
So moved. We are adjourned.